Welcome back. Today we'll start with a very interesting and useful word. We'll talk about why some post offices and banks are closed today. Some school students have the day off too. Plus, a birthday, a song, and a quote. So grab your favorite cuppa. Scoot up close here and let's have a look. Hi there and welcome to This Day in History for October 13th. October 13th is the 286th day of the year in the Gregorian calendar, 287th in leap years with 79 days remaining to the end of the year. Today's word is metonymy. We talked recently about the word synecdoche, and in researching that word, today's word, metonymy, was mentioned. But where synecdoche uses a part to refer to the whole, or the whole to refer to a part, metonymy is a figure of speech in which a concept is referred to by the name of something associated with that thing or concept. For example, the word suit may refer to a person from groups who commonly wear business attire, like salespeople, attorneys, or C-suite executives. Metonymies are common in everyday speech. They're similar to metaphors, but where metaphors rely on analogous characteristics to form a comparison, a metonymy is caused by general association of the two objects of comparison. For example, have you ever heard someone say, "The White House made a decision," even though buildings don't talk? That is metonymy, a figure of speech where we refer to something by using a related concept. It's like saying the crown to mean a king or a queen, or Hollywood when we really mean the movie industry. It's not the thing itself, but something closely connected to it. Some more examples might be the pen is mightier than the sword, where the pen means diplomacy and sword means war, or he spent his evening reading Shakespeare, lands belonging to the crown, demanded action by City Hall. These are all cases of the use of one word for another that it may be expected to suggest. We could go on for days with examples with, say, a place or places that represent an entire industry like Wall Street for the United States financial sector and major banks, K Street for Washington, D.C.'s lobbying industry or lobbying in the United States in general, or Hollywood for the U.S. film industry and the people associated with it. I think you get the idea. Some might argue that all words are metonyms, since words stand for the concepts they express. Once you know about it, you can see it all over the place. The word metonymy comes to us from Greek, where it means a change of name. First known use of the word metonymy is in the 1500s. Metonymy. Today's word metonymy was requested by YouTube viewer @TRamsire. Thanks, Teresa. That's a great one. And if you have a word you'd like us to look into, drop it in the comments and we'll get it on the list. And with that, in yesterday's episode, we mentioned that Christopher Columbus and his crew made landfall in the Bahamas in 1492. 300 years later, on October 12, 1792, we see the first celebration of Columbus's landing. Columbus Day is a holiday in many parts of the Americas and a federal holiday in the United States intended to commemorate Christopher Columbus's arrival in the Americas in 1492. In the U.S., the first celebration of Columbus's landing happened in 1792, as I mentioned, and later efforts by Italian-American groups led to its establishment as a legal holiday. Initially celebrated on October 12th, no matter what day of the week it fell on, this federal holiday in the U.S. has been observed the second Monday in October since 1971, as it is today, Monday, October 13th. Being a federal holiday in the U.S., places like banks and the U.S. Postal Service are closed on this day, and school students may be enjoying a long weekend. Outside the U.S. and even outside the Americas, October 12th may be observed under various names. In Spain, for example, the date is linked to Dia de la Hispanidad, a national day celebrating Spanish heritage, coinciding with a religious feast, and Columbus Day was recognized in Italy in 2004. Sadly, Columbus Day has suffered some controversy, with critics highlighting unfavorable impacts of European colonization on indigenous populations, resulting in challenges and revisions to the notion of Columbus Day. Construction of the White House in the United States began on October 12, 1792, with the laying of its cornerstone. Its initial construction took place between 1792 and 1800. With exterior walls, a light gray freestone painted white, the building came to be known as the White House because its appearance contrasted strikingly with the red brick of nearby buildings. It took over 8 years for it to become livable. It was burned in 1814 during the War of 1812, destroying the interior and charring much of the exterior. Repairs and renovation began, and President James Monroe moved in October of 1817. U.S. presidents have lived and worked in the White House since then. The White House. This is the birthday of singer-songwriter Sammy Hagar, born October 13, 1947 in Salinas, California in the United States. As a youngster, he picked fruit, delivered newspapers, and mowed lawns to earn money. He bought himself a guitar from the Sears catalog, taught himself to play. He started a band when he was 14. He got married in 1968, moved to San Francisco, and played in various bands. For a time, he worked for his father-in-law to make ends meet. He returned to music full-time in the early 70s. He was lead vocalist with a band called Montrose, then went solo, then sang with the group Van Halen. Sammy Hagar's discography consists of 26 studio albums, 8 live albums, 16 compilation albums, 8 video albums, 103 singles, and he's still working, has tour dates scheduled on into next year. Happy birthday, Sammy Hagar. When I saw Sammy Hagar's name in the lineup today, the first thing that popped into my mind was the song I Can't Drive 55. See, back in October of 1973, the Organization of Arab Petroleum Exporting Countries, also known as OPEC, initiated an oil embargo, refusing to sell oil to several countries for political reasons. This left those countries scrambling for their oil needs. OPEC lifted the embargo the following March, but prices per barrel had increased dramatically, nearly 300%, resulting in an oil crisis. You saw things like limited availability of gasoline and long lines at the gas stations. As an emergency response to this oil crisis, President Richard Nixon proposed a national speed limit, and the national maximum speed limit was enacted in the 1974 Emergency Highway Energy Conservation Act, which imposed a maximum speed limit of 55 miles per hour, that's 89 kilometers per hour, for passenger vehicles across the country. Some states opposed the law, and later the speed limit was raised to 65 miles per hour, that's 105 kilometers per hour on certain roads. That background laid, while these lower speed limits were in effect, Sammy Hagar was driving from Albany, New York to Lake Placid, middle of the night, 2 a.m. He's driving 62 miles per hour, 100 kilometers per hour. He gets pulled over and ticketed for speeding. To be fair, he did think he was driving on a stretch of road that the speed limit had been raised to 65, so he thought he was legal, but no, he got a ticket for speeding. He said as soon as he got home, he pulled out his guitar and the song practically wrote itself. I bet it did. I Can't Drive 55 was released in 1984, and I think just about anybody who heard it could relate. The Emergency Highway Energy Conservation Act was repealed with President Bill Clinton's signature in 1995. There's a pretty entertaining music video of the song on YouTube. I Can't Drive 55 by Sammy Hagar. Link in the description. Link in the description. How about that? I read where Sammy Hagar talked about staying in shape. He said, if you don't ever stop singing, your voice stays in shape. It's like the marathon runner. You got to run, run, run to stay in shape. A great example of the idea of today's quote, use it or lose it. I guess it's more of an old saying, use it or lose it. But use it or lose it. Alrighty, y'all take care. Be good to each other. I'll see you next time. And a hearty and grateful shout out to these lovely folks who've bought me a coffee. Thank you so much. And if you'd like to add your name to that list, there is a link in the description where you too can buy me a coffee. Alrighty. And I think that's going to do it for us today. Thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Feel free to share this video with a link in your email, messaging, or social media. If you enjoy this series, you can check out the playlists in the description. You can find me on BitChute, Facebook, Odyssey, Rumble, YouTube, and X, as well as on a blog page called No Really. No Really. No Really. Consider following my Day in History page on Facebook if you're on Facebook. I also have a Patreon account now, or you can buy me a coffee. All those links are in the description. Alrighty, that's all I can think of right now. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.